Right. So hopefully we're going live here in a second because the time delay. So we'll get this working. Hey there, fellow marketers. Hope you're all doing well. Good to see you all here today. We only have bad problems with the technology here. So who knows how things will work today. Anyway, so today's a big topic day. Today we're going to be talking about content strategy development and curation topics. This is one of the things I think for all of you that want to run your own social media, or you're running social media for a company or things like that, this is going to be really important because this is where we're really going to determine what's the kind of content we should be talking about and we should be doing versus, oh, this is a nice topic, let's talk about it. It's like, yeah, but is that your area of expertise, or should you be sharing things about that, okay? So I'm going to try to adjust the camera because this for some reason this computer, the camera's at the keyboard. So like, look, you have the keyboard down there, which is really weird. So let's see if I can play a little bit with this, get it to be a little bit less weird, but we shall see. But anyway, I hope everybody's on here. I'm sure a few of you popped on. I talked to Alex already this morning. He seemed to be doing well. I heard from the other Alex. She seemed to be doing well, but that was not today. That was another day. Some things I want to talk about before we get started on this. I know some of your emails actually been going into spam, so I'm actually coming up. I have a Word document that I'm putting together, which will actually have, I will send out to you all over the next couple of days, which goes through, it has each of the homeworks, so you'll see what your grades are in each of the homeworks. If I have any notes I want to give you, it'll be on there so then you all know. Because everyone's getting the full points. Everyone's been doing a nice job. I just want to make a few points here and there, but nothing too big. And when you get that sheet, either today, tomorrow, I should have them all done. You will be getting, like, you'll see at the bottom, it doesn't have like the last 2 grades on there. That's just to make sure I have everybody's stuff on there. So that's for me to have everybody's stuff together. But you'll see, it'll be, because I'm just taking the projects out of 10, or the homeworks out of 10, 9, 10, stuff like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, things like that. Just because since they're, we're 10% each, it's a pretty easy way to do it. If it's a 9, it's an A, so 8's a B, 7's a C, so you have that, so you'll be okay. Some people have been, especially our Vienna crew, they've told us they're a little overrun with some projects and assignments right now. For this week's homeworks, if you're running behind, it's okay. You can have an extra week to do the homework assignments. The final project, I have to have everything by the end of the month. I can tell you that much because July 1st I have to send the grades off. So we have to have all that stuff in by then. So you have that. But I know some people were running, it's like, is it too late to drop because I can't get this last homework in? I'm like, take your time. It's okay. These are all things that you can use and you can do. So it can be really helpful. So don't worry if you're running behind on stuff. Because I know a few people, there's a big tax exam going on this week, and I'm just like, you know what? It's okay. It is okay. You'll be all right. So you have some more time. Some other things I want to talk about with social media in the class. Talk about the homeworks, talk about the grading stuff. For the final project, I'm knocking it down. So it's like 10 to 15 pages. I think each of you can do that. You've already done, some of your homeworks are already like 3 or 4 pages long, so it's not really going to be that hard to like expand and get the other things in there. Today's, because like the social media marketing mission statement's in there, the analysis stuff is in there. And then you have like the content strategy we're doing today, that will go in there as well. So you're already collecting a lot of the stuff. A few things you're only adding a few extra things in for the project, so it's not like it's a whole new project, it's a collection of these things. So I wanted you to kind of build towards that, so you will have that. So that should help out a little bit, okay? So if you do have any questions about the project, you can just shoot me something here, but I just want to give you the heads up for all that, all right? So I don't know if anybody's awake yet. See how many people we have on. We've got 11 people on here, so the 11 of you representing, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. That's one thing that's tough with the online classes, especially when you have like 2 time zones, is when can people actually make it and stuff like that. And for my Illinois students, this week and last week's been a lot of discussions on what we're going to be doing in the fall. And it's like, do you want to have, like, I got a survey yesterday, the day before, yesterday about like, oh, okay, let's get your final feelings, what you want to do, because the university will make their decisions, but then individual professors, they can like they can have like I would like to do. So one is they would have like a Zoom and a face-to-face class at the same time. So I would be doing my class, and they just record me while I did it. So some students could come, they didn't have to, so you'd have that. Then the next option was like you'd have your class, but instead of having one section, you'd have like 4 sections, and they divide it up, and you'd have to do it like multiple times. So then they'd start changing people's schedules for that. And then the other one was just fully online. And I think it's going to depend on this. In the end, I think it'll depend on the size of the class and the susceptibility of the professor for COVID and stuff like that. So that's going to be a thing that looks at. So I would imagine any big classes, I would have to think if they're like over 200, 300 students, you're probably going to be online because you can't make it that safe with that many people, and we're not allowed to have that many people together anyway. So there will be that. So do expect like your bigger classes, even if they have exams, they're probably going to have online exams. And the other thing that I was hearing they were asking about is like if we just went through the Thanksgiving break or the fall break, and that fall break you don't come back, we finish the classes online and with online exams. So that's where it's going to go. But they're going to make their big announcement on the 15th. So we've got a few days till we find out what they're going to do. I like to know because if I have to do everything online, I need to finish up making all the videos because I want to do the YouTube videos like you've had, because we've had these live classes like this. I thought I'd do like one of these every so often, and then just to get to know the students, and then have the YouTube kind of stuff. So if you all have any opinions on that, I'd really like to hear. Like, do you like this mix of YouTube and mix of live, or do you think like, because the first week we had 2 lives and 1 YouTube day. Last week we had we had 2 YouTubes and 1 live. This week we have 2 lives and 1 YouTube. Like, what do you like better? Like, what kind of like mix do you like? If you could let me know, I'd really appreciate that. Because since I'm the academic director, I can give for the marketing degree, I can give suggestions to people. Because I've already told the people, like, you know how I send out that email every Sunday for our class saying, here's what we're going to do, here's the topics, here's the homeworks. I really want all the professors to be doing that, just so everyone knows what's going on. Because since everything's so crazy with the homeworks and with the assignments and with everything, I just thought it'd be easier if we just, like, everyone was sending the stuff out. It's all together. So, like, Sunday night, you check your email. Okay, I got one for Professor Wolters, Professor White, Professor Noel, Professor, Balwani. And you can kind of go through and say, okay, this is what needs to be done. I know you all have syllabi, but it's just something that I think would be helpful. So do let me know. Since nobody's commenting, I'm guessing you're all just asleep anyway, so it's okay. But anyway, so today's 2 lectures. We have one right now that's starting. It's 10 here in Chicago and 5 in Vienna. And then the next one will be at 12:30. So I'm going to stop about halfway through these slides. We're going to use the same slides both times. Tomorrow's class, I'm going to go through. So for the SOSTIC and race model that you had last Thursday, those videos, I have an example. You have an example in your book or in your slides. I'm actually going to go through that so you understand how people would use it. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to go through the final project tomorrow. So then you all can answer your questions, and you can have everything there. So we have that all cleared up. And then Thursday is going to be the YouTube videos, and those are going to be key performance indicators, some search and optimization stuff, which I think is really helpful. For your project, you're not really doing any SEO for your project. The KPIs, key performance indicators. I know in the project I talk about it, but I'm not going to like really grade you hard on that if you're not sure what you really have them do. So those last ones I'm not too worried about. So if you like, because after today and tomorrow, you could definitely do the entire project. So I'm not too worried there. I know we've had a lot of classes and there's been a lot of YouTube videos. And if you noticed that the time of the YouTube videos is a lot more than the times we're actually having the live classes. It's because we have to make up a certain amount of hours. And after today, we actually have enough like contact hours, online stuff that we're good there. So everything else is just going to be bonus. So there you go. So that's nice. But I'm really glad you all kind of stuck through this class. And I know it's only like 3 weeks of stuff, but I know for those of you that want to do your social media stuff, we've covered a ton of things very quickly. And so it's hard sometimes to take it all in. That's why you guys have all the slides and those videos are still there. Some of the lectures I have not put live. I've kept as unlisted, but you have those links. So you can watch those links and recover stuff later, but I don't think I'll make all of them live because it's between us. You know, we have special stuff. Okay, so we have that. What else can I tell you? I don't know. I hope we're still live because no one even says hi. Breaking my heart. 12. Hey, we gained somebody, so I'm guessing we're still okay. All right, so let's get to this. So topic line, looking at content strategy development and curation, topic development. So if you're looking at content is things that you create, okay? And so we're going to be developing our strategy of what we should be creating. And it's not just we create videos, it's what kind of videos, who should we target with those videos, things like that. That's why we had all that segmentation, those personas and stuff, so we could develop content that's for that person. So we can write to, so I can have the targeting for, what was one I used, like Lazy Larry, or Kooky Karen or whatever. Like, you have these things because it makes it easier to make content for them. Oh, it works. Good. I'm glad you're all there. That makes me very happy. Hey, Maria, Diana, Ben. Oh, Vienna's in the house. Dang, Vienna's representing. Not sure about my Illinois people, but glad that my Vienna people are representing. Thanks for being here. Hope everybody's doing well. I know you all have that different schedule with your exams and stuff, so I appreciate y'all being here. Anyway, and then curation topics. Curation are things that when you curate something, it's a collecting. Like Pinterest, you curate content. You curate. You're making a collection of stuff, and so we'll look at is the kind of topics that you could be sharing. Just like, for example, for me, for business videos and stuff, I mean, I can do the marketing, I can do the social media stuff, I can do business strategy, no problem. But when it comes to accounting, not really my area of expertise. I could do something, but it's better for me to curate that and get it from someplace else and share that content. That's why you'll see, some places they'll share like the stock. They don't write, the Dow Jones closed today at 20,000. They'll just retweet the Wall Street Journal, or they'll retweet the Dow Jones, and they'll do that. So, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. See, this is why. So, for my Vienna students, because with COVID, I don't know what the heck's going to go, how it's going to work, and how study abroad is going to change. But I might be back in Vienna this time next year. But I don't know if we'll do the social media marketing course. Either be that or like my principles of marketing course. Depends on how many people we can get from U of I to go for which one. But if you're looking or you got a friend that might want to take a class, that will be, I might be there for another 3-week intensive course. But that time we'll be together. And if you take my class, come, you can always stop by and be like, hey, Mark, I was at Ben W. Oh, hey, good to see you in person versus in social media. Oh, Liz is in the house. Thank you. We are live in Illinois. I'm glad. All right, so let's get started with this one. So when we start looking at the kind of content we're going to develop, we really have to think about overall content strategy. And when you're doing that, you got to look at the platforms you're going to use, because the kind of content I'm going to be making is really going to depend on the content or the platforms. Because having video, you got to be on YouTube. Or if you're going to have short video, maybe you do TikTok and Facebook as well. Or because what you have to realize is when you look at those different platforms, they lend themselves to certain things. I mean, you go to YouTube to watch videos. You go to TikTok to watch videos. You go to Facebook to see updates and see what people are saying and see pictures. And if there's a video that goes by, you might happen to watch it, but you're not there specifically to watch it. And so therefore it's a very different kind of experience. So we have to make different stuff. Like I have videos, and we have 15-minute long videos on YouTube, and then I have once a week I'll put out a cut down version to a 3 to 5 minute version of it on Facebook, because that's more what Facebook wants, right? And so that's really going to influence what we're going to be making, okay? And so, and I'll talk about this later, or maybe I'll talk about it later today or tomorrow. We'll talk about repurposing content when you have some content that can be broken up. Like if I have a 10 things you should know about social media video, could I break that up into 10 little separate videos and put little things in Facebook out like that? Or if you have a paper you wrote, could you break that up and put part of it in a tweet, or part of it in a Facebook post or in a blog or whatever? So it's the really things you have to think about when you're looking at developing your content strategy, because that's why when you make it a social media plan we talked about a couple weeks ago, it's really important that you lay out what platforms you're going to use and why and who you're going to target. Because another thing you have to really think about is also, how often am I going to be sharing content? Because depending on your industry you're in, depending on your market, depending on what's going on, that might influence how often you're going to be sharing. And when you think about it, is there an everyday thing? So like for a business, for the University of Vienna or Wirtschaftsuniversität Wien or Geese College of Business, what are things they could be sharing every day? What are things they would be sharing once a week? What which things are once a month? And that's where you might look at it. For Geese, they might have it. We do a monthly faculty spotlight, and we do a monthly student spotlight, right? We do a monthly RSO spotlight, right? So we have our spotlight Saturdays, whatever, and that's where we have those things there. So we kind of plan that out, right? And so we have to think about, okay, that's what we're going to do. Do we have enough faculty to do it? Because we couldn't do faculty spotlight every single day. There's only 150 faculty. So you're like, okay, halfway through the year you're done, and then you don't have that content anymore. So you're like, wait. And not every professor is going to lead itself into doing a social media, repertoire on a reportage on them, right? And so what you look at is you're going to say, look, we got 150 faculty members. We're going to do, one a month, maybe two, because you're like, we might do two if someone has a big paper that comes out or they're in the news. Then we're going to do an extra one for that, and that's why you kind of plan things around it. Okay. Oh, there's WhatsApp group for the WVU students. Cool. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I forgot about that. We had that. We did that when we were in last year when we had our group. So thanks, Ben. And that's another thing you might think about is sometimes you forget there's other mediums out there. Like, what are we going to put on the WhatsApp? Like, if I was looking at what would be my daily WhatsApp post, like, hey, it would be just like, here's today's link, right to the live feed. And that's all I would do. Whereas Facebook, we might have, here's an article that might be interesting to the group. Here might be this. We just kind of think about that. And so when we look at how often you're gonna post, like, I think if we look at different people's stuff, like if you're looking at, some people have food vlogs or vlogs. Some people have food Instagram channels. Like, how often you want to do that? Well, you have to do it at least once a day, because with food, it's got to be at least once a day because people eat 3 times a day all the time. Like, we're starting to realize, look, if I post a picture about it, I need to have content for every single day. And so that's what you'll end up taking, tons of pictures to make sure you have content way, way out into the future. But then if we look at other things, like if you're a B2B business and you're talking about fencing, like not like sword fighting fencing, but like building a fence, around people's houses or whatever, you might look at it and say, okay, maybe we only post, on Facebook once a month or like once a week or twice a month or something like that. Yes, Liam? No, you cannot have my phone. You can speak louder. No, you cannot play Fortnite. No video games today. You're going to go to Stevens later. Oh, I know. It's so horrible. Yeah, telling your kid he gets to go play with his friends instead of playing video games. It's like, pulling teeth. Anyway. And so you really want to kind of think about it because you don't want to overdo it. Like, This is one thing we have to realize is when is too much, when you oversaturate, because some platforms will actually limit the number of your posts that will be shown to people per day, like new posts. Like YouTube, I believe it's only 3 things. So if you put out a video and a community thing and do something else, that's it. If you have something else, big news, they will not show it. And each one will get less and less. That's why you don't want to post too much because it cannibalizes each other and they don't show you the stuff. And so you have to think about that. And so it's really important that you really become very specific in what you're going to post, what content you're going to make, what you're going to post, and when you're going to post it. Because you might think of it like, oh, this is a really good idea to share this, but but I've already shared 2 things today. That's why sometimes you kind of schedule in, like, you know what, I have room for another one, but I'm not necessarily going to do it. Okay, so you want to kind of think about that. And you'll actually track when do you get the most engagement, when are people on there the most, these kind of things, so you know the best time to post. Okay? And I won't make this one live, guys. Like, this will just be on our unlisted videos. This will not be a public video, so Ben doesn't have to worry about his phone number getting out there to all the crazy people. So there's that. Anyway, moving on. So another thing is, so we've looked at the kind of content we're going to be making. We looked at how often we need to do it because that will influence how often we need to make it. And then we're going to look at is who's going to make our content. Like, are we going to do it ourselves or are we going to have other people do it? Because sometimes you make your own content. Like I make 99.9% of all my content, but sometimes you're like, you know what? Someone else could make it for me. Like tomorrow's video in Wolters World is actually about wheelchair travel and air flight, like taking airplanes in a wheelchair. Like I'm not in a wheelchair. I don't know. So I actually got a buddy of mine who is a wheelchair traveler, and he made the video for me. He did the interview, and so I have his pictures, his comments, his video stuff to put in there. Because I'm like, look, this is something that we can't make. I can't make this, but they can. And so sometimes you hire someone to do it occasionally, but a lot of times you want to make sure is there stuff that I can actually do. Okay, so that's where we want to focus on. Okay, and then like I said, going to that repurposing our content. That's one of the nice things out there. Like cutting down my 15-minute videos into 3-minute videos. That's repurposing the content, making it a new way to kind of take it in. And so we can do these things to make it work better. So just something to kind of think about when you're putting it together. All right. Now, when we are developing our content, it's not like you have. That's why you have the SO stick model, because it's not just we're going to post every day at 9 a.m. Why are you posting at 9 a.m.? What's going on? What's the overall goal you want to get with your social media? Like, what's your overall content strategy? Okay, what do you want to get across here? Like, you know, for the social media marketing channel, like the Professor Wolters, what's my overall goal here? Because I'm right now I'm putting out videos for social media marketing class, but before I was putting out for my principles of marketing class. But what's the overall goal? Well, the overall goal is to share marketing knowledge and make it, you know, available to anybody that wants to learn, regardless if they're in college, if they're, you know, stay-at-home mom or whatever. We want to give everybody the chance to learn. Like, that's the overall goal. So when I realized that the overall goal is educating people in marketing and business. All right, so that means there's a lot of topics I could cover that will fit in there. I haven't done them yet, but it would fit into what our overall strategy is of business education. Right? And so that will really influence the kind of things that I want to make. But if I just said, you know, my overall content strategy, this is just for a principles of marketing course, well, that's going to be a very different, I'm not going to share social media marketing stuff. I'm not going to share, you know, YouTube tips or whatever, because that's not part of the overall plan. Whereas for this, it is like, let's just get business education out there. So a lot of stuff can fall into that. So if you're doing like with the dog blogs, right? It's like, what's the overall goal here? Look, our overall content strategy is to highlight my dog so people want to follow my dog. So what are all the things that go along with your dog? Like, are you going to be talking about somebody else's dog, or is it only your dog? You know, it kind of helps you have a better idea of how to focus down on what you should be creating. Okay. Now, another thing you have to realize is when we're developing our content strategy, remember, I've talked about this a lot. That's my son's friends like, hey. I'll silence it. It's so funny because my buddy's like, oh, you can come over now. I'm like, if you would have called a half hour ago, I could have dropped him off before school, before I started this. Well, now you might know what I'll be doing between classes. Anyway, there's a lot of things you might want to do. Like I know I've said, look, we don't want to use social media to sell. Like, that's not going to be the big point, because selling will turn people off, right? And so, but the thing is, you don't not sell. Like, you're talking about the good things of your product. Your content you're going to be creating is going to build the obviousness that your product would be the best purchase. You'll show happy customers. You'll show people using the product. You'll show the benefits of it, and that'll get people to buy. Because you don't say, oh, you should buy this. You're like, look how happy they are. Look what they're getting out of it. Look why it's important to them, and that's going to be a better sales pitch than anything else. Okay? Yeah. So just something to think about with that. And that also kind of goes into realizing that maybe you want to let your community know that you're giving back. So you might want to post about your company helping out in the community. You know, this is what we're trying to do for the, you know, you saw a lot of stuff with COVID. You see a lot of things with Black Lives Matter right now. And you're seeing like, look, we're trying to show what we're doing. That might be something else. It's not your normal content you're making, but you have it so you have that you can make content that deals with your community. Like, where I live, like right now, there's like sustained winds of like 50 kilometers an hour, 60 kilometers an hour. I mean, like my grill for my backyard already went across my backyard, like phew. And so if I live in a neighborhood like this, I realize that, look, there's probably going to be tornadoes and because hell, 2 houses down from me got hit by a tornado a couple years ago. I mean, it just like jumped by us. And you're like, okay, these are the kind of things that are happening are things that we need to have. What content we can do to help people with this? Like, what could we do that maybe isn't part of our normal content, but we can help out? And so you want to think about these things. Now, other things you might want to look at in terms of building your content strategy, kind of overall strategies, realizing, look, we want to solidify our reputation. Okay, that's the thing is people people will never believe you, no matter how great you say you are. It's like when people tell you how cool they are, they're not cool, right? And so, like, how do I prove that I'm cool without saying I'm cool? How do I prove that I'm smart without saying I'm smart? Because you're like, you're not smart if you say that. And so that's what you're looking at, really, like solidifying your reputation as an expert. So think about the kind of content you should make that could solidify that. So for like marketing, what can solidify this? I have the basics. I have more advanced marketing. I have things out there. I'm doing live classes. I'm doing huge 15, 16-hour long live sessions for raising money. That is building up my expertise. It shows that we know what we're doing. That's why when you look at Home Depot or like it's an Obi in Austria, the like do-it-yourself stores, they'll have videos online. Say, look, we sell this stuff, but we can also help you do it. It helps build the expertise. Oh, I learned how to do this from you, and therefore I'm going to buy my stuff from you. Because like Home Depot has classes to teach people how to do stuff. So you want to kind of think about those things, okay? Now, when we look at other things, when you're looking at your content strategy, sometimes you are just looking at building brand awareness. You're wanting people to know that your movie's coming out, or when is the release date? When can they buy the DVD version? Or when is the digital download, Blu-ray, blah, blah, blah coming, right? You have these things you look at, and you have to realize this, all those companies have a strategy content. They have strategy content for the whole thing. Because how many of you have felt like you knew what an entire movie was going to be before it came out? Because of all the previews, all the clips you saw, all those things, all this is working together to get the brand awareness out there so people go and see the movie on the first weekend, because they know if we don't have a huge opening weekend, it just goes down after that. So we got to get everybody out the first weekend. And so you have to think about those things, which is really interesting, because now when you think about how do we build up desire to go see a movie after COVID, are people going to go to the movies? That's when you're starting to see, like, maybe our content strategy isn't, we're not going to spend $50 million in advertising for the movie theater. What we might do is maybe we just go video on demand, or maybe we have the theatrical release, but then we spend the real money getting people to buy the digital download, 6 weeks later or something like that, or it's a limited release for 2 weeks in the theaters, and then you do that to like build up. Oh, people really liked it. Oh, and now it's available. So these are things you really have to think about, because every industry is going to be different. For universities, they're looking at their content strategy throughout the year. When do high school kids choose their college? When do they go and when do high school students like look at colleges? You're going to have content that kind of puts in there, like, oh, this summer is when people usually do their college tours, right? So we need to have it out there. College tour dates, when to sign up. Hey, that's where you're going to have more posts about that every day. Sign up for a tour, sign up for a tour, sign up for a tour. And so you want to think about that. Now, going back to the sales side of it, because sometimes you do want to draw people. Maybe it's just getting leads and stuff. You look at, how do I say this? Generated potential leads. That's the best way to say it. It's because that's what you have to say. Is you might have things like click here to learn more, or click for a quote. If you're ever on YouTube, YouTube will have their things, but you'll have on Instagram here. Let's see if I have a gallivanting gas, sarcastic money. So like here, this is, see where it says Crunch Champagne, sign up. So right there, look, they have Be Our Swole Mate, offer expires tomorrow. So it's not what they have all the time, but their ad is like sign up. See the little sign up button right here? They're doing that to get people to go, because sometimes you'll have that on there. That's why on Facebook, if you look on Facebook, they'll have a, buy now, sign up here, click here for more. You do that. And you have to think is, when am I going to do that? Because you have too many of those, that turns people off. But occasionally, remember the 411 rule we talked about, this can actually help out. Okay? But honestly, and I've said this 1,000 times, if you take nothing out of this class, remember, the most important thing you want to be doing when you're developing your social media content is really building that sense of community with your customers and within your customers and your community. Because what happens is you build up the social group. It's like friends. And you buy from your friends. You want to help your friends out. Your friend falls down, you help them up. Someone else falls down, you should help them up. But sometimes you're like, someone else is going to do it. Okay, I'll help them up. Like, you have this kind of thing. And that's why friends want to help friends out. And so if you have that relationship, you're going to go. I mean, there's a comedian called Jim Gaffigan. He's originally from Indiana. He's lived in New York for like 30 years now. But he used to do a bunch of like Indiana Midwest jokes. Okay, he had a few TV shows, and he and I actually we chatted before, and he's like, oh yeah, for my latest tour, I watched a bunch of your videos to get an idea of bad tourists, so I could talk about it. I'm like, oh, that's cool, So we had a little back and forth chat thing, and the thing was I always liked his stuff, but the fact that he reached out and talked to me when I commented, and I was like, wow, dude, like, you're famous, man. You're like super famous. TV show, all kinds of stuff. And you're like, and he made it a point to say, oh yeah, his videos are really good for travel. Check it out. I'm like, wow, dude, I saw that you subscribed to me, but I thought it was like your social media handler did that. It was like, but you had that. Like, look at me. I'm like, oh, I got all giddy. I met a famous person online. And it was a real one. And so you have that, and that builds a goodwill. So you know what? Next time when his tour starts up again, guess who's going to go get tickets and go see him? Me. Just because he wrote back. I mean, there's things you do that community spirit get people to do things, right? And so that's what I want you to be thinking about. What can we be doing to build that community spirit? What can we be doing to help out our customers? That's why you're always asking these questions. What would you like to see? What would you like us to do? And so you're doing things like that. Man, I say things like that a lot, don't I? I noticed that in the videos lately. It's like, and things like that, and things like that, and things like that. It's like, it's like when people go, like, I go, and things like that. Anyway. Also, one of our fans sent me a care package from Texas, from Buc-ee's. So I got all these beaver nuggets, all this kind of stuff. It was super nice, the nice coffee mugs. I'm like, you don't have to do that, man. He's like, you've been entertaining us so much during the quarantine, I had to. I'm like, that's really nice, man. Thank you. So you build up the things. His name's Brian. He's a lawyer, and he's got the cutest little kid, Franklin. So it's like you start to build these things up. So something to kind of think about when you're developing your social media profiles. Now, when we start looking at those types of social media platforms you might be using, you do have what we call social networking sites. Okay, these are websites that connect informally through shared social interests. So yeah, if you're in a Facebook group, they're like, I like toys of the 90s, right? Or I like toys of the 2000s, whatever. You have these groups, and it's just based on some kind of interest. Like, we're not like soulmates. We're not working partners. We're just like, we both have a common interest in something. And so you have that. So it could be, look, I just want to, share some information. LinkedIn's on there for that, or Twitter's on there for that. So you have these social networking sites you might look at. Now, what I want to say is, as I go through all of these, you have to realize that each one of these is different, but they can all be used. Like, some things will be in multiple platforms based on how people use it. Because then you look at the next one, you have what's called interest-based networks. So these are social media networks focused on user interest, where consumers can focus on current trends in the topic. So this would be like, I'm a fan of the Chicago Bulls basketball team. There's Bloggables, right? That's or Pippin Ain't Easy. There's and that's just, it's a social media thing that's focused just on Chicago Bulls basketball. And so you can have that interest-based network that works just like that. So there might be things there. So if you're if you're a food blogger, or you're a dog blogger, or you're a tattoo blogger, you will see there's ones that are just for that. I know one of you has a shoe, like your sneakerhead, right? There's sneakerhead apps and social media platforms that are just for sneakerheads, right? And so you realize, okay, those are ones we might want to be on. We might have a presence on there, Other thing you have are online review sites. So those are set up just for reviews for a variety of products. Rate My Professor has it, TripAdvisor, Yelp, all kinds of stuff. If you read mine, the student that has the one bad review on there, I mean, you can add more bad reviews, but please don't. That person has gone to every single place I am and put that exact same thing on everything. And I'm like, I must have really pissed off that student. They must be like the one person that got like a C in my class. I'm like, dude, you had to be stupid if you got a C in my class. I'm sorry. It's not like that class is not hard. And it's taught very well. Anyway, but you want to look at those online review sites. You want to be tracking those, see what's on there, and realize that part of your content strategy might have a part where it is you are answering the complaints, or you are thanking the complimenters that are on those review sites. So you can think of that. Other things you want to look at, social publishing platforms, your WordPress, your blogs, Wix. Some of you have those things out there where you're making your own blogs. You've also have media sharing sites. That's your Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram. What are we going to do for those? And you realize, wait, media sharing sites, that's kind of like the social networking sites. Yeah, because you can use Facebook for media sharing as well. you might do it in different ways. That's why some places you'll see they're huge on one platform but not another, because their stuff doesn't really work as well. So you have to think about that. Like people that are huge on a Facebook video are not necessarily huge on YouTube video, and vice versa, because just how the nature of the beast is. And so we got to think about that. And so you might realize that, look, there's different meeting sharing websites I'm going to use for different stuff. You know, like my wife, she has her own channel called Simply Jocelyn. And so she's going to be having a bunch of like short videos on cooking and short like tips, like how the hell do you open up a jar you can't unlock? Like you can't open. It's a 30-second video. It's a 50-second video. Like that's going to be a big Facebook thing. That's not going to be a big YouTube thing, because it's going to be quick. You know, we have to look at that, right? So we kind of think about these things. And then you have what are called bookmarking sites. This is just basically collecting things, right? You have those collectors out there that I want to go back and read that. You're a bookmarker because you have your bookmarks for your on Chrome, right? For the sites to go back to. There's that kind of platforms as well that let people collect that. Okay, so we want to kind of think about those, and are we making content that will work for it? Man, it is windy as all get out outside. Like it's making my door to my room shake because that changing the air pressure as the wind goes by. Crazy. Anyway. So if we start looking at some content best practices, really what you got to think about is just really knowing that audience and developing content that's really based on their wants and needs and their habits. And so when you're developing the content, if we see that, like people like, for example, looking at making online classes. So for the fall, I'm going to guess all my classes are going to be online. And I realize that doing a hour long we're going to be online like 2 or 3 or 4 hours today maybe. I know it sucks. I'm sorry. Hopefully we're not. But you realize it's going to be hard to get people to do that. Like students don't like that. I don't like that. No one likes that. Like people don't learn that way. That's why people get Zoom fatigue. I mean, I don't know if any of you've heard of this, but people really are getting worn out by all the Zoom. Because it's just like you sit at the screen, you're like, oh my gosh, I want the interaction. I want this kind of normalcy. And so with all that, it's really, you've seen it really hurts. And so I know that like for me to do it, where is it? Where's my scripts? So I have probably, I don't know, I have 250 videos for my principles marketing class. And I have about 50 more videos I need to make. And I've already printed out like all the slides so I can like make the videos based on the slides so it can all go together. And I realized that, look, I mean, when you look at my videos that you have for this class, when you see it says 15 minutes, do you really want to watch it? Or do you like the ones that are like 5, 6, right? And so I realized that, look, to work for my students, they need to be in digestible cubes. It needs to be in digestible meals. So yes, I have a topic that is 2 hours long, but no one's going to watch a 2-hour video. Well, not nobody, but not enough. So if I break it up into digestible parts, maybe you watch a couple of videos today, maybe you eat something bad, you're stuck on the toilet a lot tomorrow, you can watch the videos then, and then it kind of gets through because it's digestible. And so you realize look, I got to make content that works for my students. My students they'll have 4 or 5 other classes, and all of them will have some kind of online component. And a lot of them are going to have professors that are not super up to date on technology. I mean, I'm up to date on technology, and we still have issues, right? So imagine in other things where there aren't, like they don't have it. They don't know how to do the YouTube stuff. They don't know how to get the Zoom right. And you're like, oh man, this sucks. Got to figure out a whole thing. Like I have, so that's why I'm like, look, the content's going to be these 5 to 6 minute long things. Now, I also know I also have needs on my side. I need to make sure my students understand what's going on. I need to make sure they understand what's happening. So then I might have live feeds like this where students can, like how you guys have your questions here, you shoot your questions in, right? You're like, hey, professor, I have a question about X, Y, and Z. Great, we've got it for you. We got it set up. They understand, and we can do that. So you really got to think about that. And that's why, like, I saw Noah, I don't know if she's watching, but she used to just show the pictures, and now she has some videos that are like going through the step-by-step kind of how to make these things. I'm like, perfect, because she says, look, people just don't want to see the stuff. They want to eat the stuff. And since I can't get to Chicago to eat all that stuff, help me make it, right? And so you're making content to do that. Just like we saw, people wanted to know the recipes of the food we loved around the world. We started a whole new channel, Simply Jocelyn, to make those recipes because it kind of fits in there, okay? And so you kind of start looking at it as how the audience will change over time. That's why once we hit like mid-November, like, especially after Thanksgiving, every ad is like a holiday ad, right? Because they know, like, look, people are doing the holiday stuff now, so we want to make sure we have content that goes along with it, okay? Now, I'm here. Yes, more videos now. That's right. See, I've been watching, Noah. I've been watching and liking. I double click. So, no, have you gotten all the white box stuff where you can get the good pictures of the food and stuff and the overhead camera thing? There's some stuff you can put your phone on there. Just trying to think of some stuff you could use. Anyway, other things I want to think about when you're looking at your content best practices, realize you're going to have multiple social media programs for multiple segments. So I'm going to talk about this later based on interest, because sometimes you have different content based on just how interested people are, because there are some people that just pass by like, that's nice. And other people that pass by like, I need to make dinner tonight. That inspires me to make dinner. Okay, so I know for me, there's this Instagram feed called Twisted. And what Twisted does is they show it's food, but it's always like the really gooey, cheesy food that people like to watch the videos go by. You know, like they have like, oh, we're making a cheeseburger Pop-Tart, you know, but it's like that. You're like, oh, that looks really cool. I would never eat it because, you know, it's way too much work. Like, if you ever want to see funny food videos, go to The Onion. The Onion's YouTube channel has all these food videos that are freaking hilarious because, like, oh, this is so easy to make, la la la. I'm like, no, there's like 19 pans and 47 saucepans and like 19 ovens, you know? And so, but the thing is they know that, look, this is just for people that like go by and like, this is interesting to them. There might be people that actually want to get the recipes and learn more. And here's the best thing. Save our 4 all-time best sugar snap recipes. What are they? But they don't actually have a link to the recipes. So they might have other content to go to the recipes, right? So you might have the recipe blog that they could go to for more. And that's for the people that are more interested. But I'll talk about that later today. Okay? So make sure you're realizing you might be looking at that. And so, you know, because if you're looking at that, like, for example, Twitter with airlines, you'll have people, they'll have the technical people that are on there. They'll have the like, oh, let's inspire you to travel. We have the people that are there, the stuff like, hey, there's a big storm coming through the Midwest right now, like that I'm having, that's going to affect flights. So you have people that'll go to the meteorologist, people will talk about that. So there's all kinds of different things you're going to have. So you're customizing that content for each of those segments. Even though it'll be on the same platform, you'll have different stuff. You'll have different groups you're going for. Okay? Now, moving on. Other good content, best practices. What's really nice if you can develop kind of content that repeats itself. I'm not saying make the same content again. You're not making the same cheese sandwiches 400 times. But what you're having is like, you know, for food channels, it's all about having a sweets on Saturday. Why? Because people will be willing to make sweets, and Saturday morning they wake up, they see that, hey, let's make that today. That works really well. But you have, you know, your throwback Thursdays, your motivation Mondays, your social media Saturday, whatever. You have this kind of, if you could make content that repeats, that people get used to doing, that's what drives people. They say, no, oh, the new Mandalorian's out on Friday, or the new Epic Rap Battles of History come out the first Monday of the month, or Saturday of the month. I don't know what they're doing now, but you know, you have these things you want to think about. And so if you see, that's why it's really important that you track your analytics. What have been our most popular posts? Like, Noah, what are your most popular food posts? What gets the most likes? You know, I need to make more of that. There's something I could do to make that post often and again. Like, our don'ts of traveling are biggest videos. Like, don'ts of traveling are number 1. Then shocks of traveling are number 2. Then number 3 is like tips. Number 4 is love and hates. And then way down here at like 5 or 10 is like kids traveling videos and just general what to see when you go places videos. Those are not very popular. It's like, okay, those ones, maybe I don't need to make those anymore. Like right now, I'm going through all of our content from We Traveled Before. Our new content going forward is we're making the don'ts and shocks and mistakes videos when you go places, because those are the only ones people watch. All food content will be moving over to Simply Jocelyn, because our food videos don't get showed because the algorithm is having it being shown just travel stuff. So we're like, look, that's why we have, there's a thing, one of the videos we have out there is like when to make a second channel, which discusses your strategy on stuff. Okay. Now, other things I want to talk about, when you're looking at your scheduling, make sure you're publishing when people are actually watching. Like, look and see when is the audience there. So, for example, for me, people, like, our big view time is from 7 in the morning until 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the thing. There's no point in me posting anything after 5 o'clock. No reason. I need to do it in the morning so it has all day to run. And I'll see a difference because I post at noon. It'll still do the same good for the rest of the day. I'm like, shoot it, I missed out that 5 hours first. You want to make sure you're planning it out. But the thing is, it can be very different. That's my group. Other groups, it might show that, look, people are looking for their motivation stuff on Mondays to get going. And so we need to make sure we have it there. So make sure you're watching and seeing when people are there. Now, the thing is, you need to have enough posts to really get an idea of what's working. So like with our Simply Jocelyn channel, right now, we're just putting out content. I wouldn't say willy-nilly, but we're putting out 2 or 3 videos a week. And then after we get maybe 20 videos, 30 videos out, and then we start looking, hey, when are our busy times? Like when there's enough people watching that you can get good data, we start to see, it's like, wow, yeah, Saturday is a day we need to post, or Sunday's a day, or Friday afternoon is the best time to post because that's when we see the spike because people come home Friday, they want to do something fun to cook, and boom, okay. And so you have to look at that. So make sure you're tracking all this and seeing what works, okay? And factor that into your content strategy, okay? Now, for my principles of marketing people, this will look familiar. But when you're looking at developing posts and content themselves, a lot of times we're trying to figure out is like, what should I be doing? Like, what should I focus on? And the thing is, you can't focus on everything in every post. There's just not enough time in a 5-second video or a 15-second spot or, square this big. You can't put everything in there. So what you might look at is, what are some things that we might want to consider when we're making these posts? And so we have what's called this 4E framework for social media. Okay, and so what we have to realize is the first E is excite. We have to excite our customers with relevant offers. So what does that mean? Well, that means we're finding out what their wants and needs are, and we're developing content that answers those wants, answers those needs, and therefore they'll be excited to watch, read, buy, whatever. Okay, so really try to excite them with relevant offers. Like, you're not saying, like, does it really matter to you if a job says, oh, we have a great retirement plan, and you're like 20, like, I don't care, I'm not going to be here until I retire. Right? So you're like, I'd rather know about my vacation days. Make sure you have the things that really relates to them, okay? And the thing is that excitement also comes on the number of social media channels you might use, because you have to realize this, I might excite you, like putting something on me on Facebook doesn't excite me, but on Instagram, I'll go to follow the link stuff, I'll do that more on Instagram. And so we kind of realize what's the platform that's going to get people excited, get them to do things, okay? Now, so usually, and the thing is we all feel, and I'm going to tell you all right now, I've seen from your posts that people I've looked at, you think you know what people like because you're like, oh, obviously people like sweets, obviously people like my cute dog, but you always, and sometimes you're right, but what you really need to look at is just look at the numbers. You look at the numbers and be like, oh, wow, they like this instead. And that's what took our channel from just another travel channel to way bigger, is because I was like, oh, people want to know what to see. So we were doing top 10s, right? I'm like, people want to see the top 10 places to see in Ottawa, Canada, or what they want top 10 things to see in Germany. Well, we'll do that. And then I'm like, well, if people are going to travel, they obviously want to learn the language before we go. And so we made language videos. And so we were making all this content, and I was like, wait, let's see if it's actually working. I started looking at the analytics, and I saw, man, the language stuff, that doesn't excite anyone, except for Germans. Germans and Austrians, they all like the language videos. Thank you for that. Dankeschön. Ganz nett von dir. But for the other places, no, language videos were worthless. And then the top 10 videos did nothing compared to the 5 love and hates. I'm like, oh, giving people bad news as well as good news gets them to know. And so that really taught us, hey, this is what excites people. People aren't excited for what to see. They were excited what not to see. But again, our overall stuff is positivity. So our don'ts, there's some serious don'ts in there too, but there's also the don'ts like don't forget to do that. So it's kind of fun. All right. Now, the second E we have is educate. So firms need to educate their potential customers about their offerings. So educating your customers, that's where you talk about your value proposition, why we work so well, why they should be buying from us. You really need to educate them on those benefits. Okay. And the more information you share with them, it makes it better for them, because then they're making sure they're buying the right product in the end. And the thing is there's educate and then there's experience. And the third E is this experience side, because educate, you're telling them what's happening. Experience is you're letting them kind of experience the product without buying it. They're getting to see how it works, either directly or indirectly. And so there is a little difference. So educate is more like the University of Illinois has 50,000 students and has degrees in this and that, and they have dorms you can live in. Whereas the experience side of it would show like Liz West moving into the dorms and, you know, showing her experience of being a student at Illinois. So you can kind of experience what's going on. And so here what you're doing is, instead of telling people how the product works, we're showing them how it works, showing them how it really happens. That's why it's good to share other customers' experiences, okay? This is why travel influencers do so well, because they're showing their experience in that country, in that spot. So, hey, look, I can have an influencer do this for me, and then they'll show me what it's really like doing it, and that'll get people to like want to come here. So that showing the experience of doing it. And that's why like diet programs, you ever look at like the before and after pictures and things like that on YouTube, they'll show like, this is how it works for me. Because think about it. If I see an exercise program online, it's always got like really buff people, like perfect abs. They only have one chin, not 5 chins, right? Stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, that's not realistic. Like, what about a fat, overweight, 40-something guy with 2 kids, 2 jobs, you know, trying to do all this stuff, you know, what about him, huh? Like, show me, and they have that, like, they'll show, like, oh, I'm Mark, I'm 45, I'm not 45 yet, so hey, but like, hey, like, here's my edge, this is my experience doing it, and then you see, wow, there was a fat dad that did this and got into shape, the before and the after, and so that's why Beachbody used to be a very popular exercise DVD program in the U.S., and they'd make sure so everybody could make a video of the before and after if they succeeded. And so you could see whether you were a college student. I mean, how many of you, your freshman year, towards the end of their freshman year, you're like, shoot, I got to lose this weight before I go back home for the summer, right? You're like, that freshman 15 got me. What do I do to get rid of it? And then there's the people that are on there like, look, I got to lose weight for my high school reunion. It's my 25th anniversary or high school reunion this year. Oh, I probably should lose a little weight so I'm not the fattest guy there like I was at the 20th. So you kind of think about those things. And so how can we demonstrate stuff so people can experience our product? So that could be something we look at. And then we want to give customers an opportunity to engage with their social network, okay? So we want the customers to do something. So what are we going to, is going to ask them, hey, don't forget to click like and subscribe. I mean, how many of you have liked and subscribed to Wolters World or to Professor Wolters or to whatever? Like, you want them to do something. And sometimes that engagement is that, you know, your call to action, like, hey, you know what? Click the link to get the recipe. Click here to learn more. Click here to visit our website. You're calling them to do something. And sometimes, hey, you just watch another video. Hey, just, you know, thanks and stuff like that. So something to kind of think about when you're making your content. Are you doing one of those 4 things? Is there something in there that's getting people to do something or experience something? Are you educating them? Are you exciting them? Just some things to kind of think about when you're developing that content, okay? Now, so how do we know what content to produce versus what we should share? This is the crux of today's homework that you will be putting in your end project. So in the center, you have your core topics, okay, your core content. So here, let me show you an example. So here we have your kind of core in the center there. That's your core stuff. What's our really business that we do? That's what we are. And then there's and that's stuff that you can write about, you can make videos about, you can make content about. Then there's the stuff we can do, like you're an expert enough that you can actually write about that. But that outside circle, that peripheral, those are things that, look, this is stuff that's interesting to our viewers, to our social media fans, to our people, but maybe we shouldn't make it because it might be better for someone else to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go through each one of those, but I want you to kind of see that, because you're going to be making this for your company. Like this, literally your homework could just be this, okay, with some other topics for the curation topics to put in there. But like you could just have this, here's the main topics, here's the thing they could write about, and here's some other things we could share. Okay, so if I go through those, at that core content, these are ones your company is an expert at. That subject area, like Professor Wolters, it's marketing and business. Like that's the core is marketing, right? Like in social media marketing, like that's my core, right? But then I can look at other things I can write about, but in that certain core, it's that. For a restaurant, that core would be the food they're cooking, their restaurant, right? Like their experience in there, that's what we could talk about. Now, they could also talk about how you cook at home and how to bring the experience out there and how to do other stuff and how to help support your local businesses. But their core business for that restaurant is the food, so we can have content made for that. So you have that. It could be the hours that your restaurant's open, these things, okay? And so when we go from there, like once we get past our core business, like what we really do, then we look at the things, that second set, that's just outside of our business core, but we're still experts at. So like my local YMCA, they don't sell food, but since the YMCA is about a healthy lifestyle, stuff like that, exercise, it kind of fits. They could have, we could write about healthy diets or how to lose the quarantine 15 and stuff like that. Like that fits with something that, yeah, I would expect the Y to make that kind of content. And that's why you got to be careful, because if you're making content that people are like, why are they making that? It might be a time to move. Like, that was one of the things why I made the Professor Wolters channel and just didn't put everything on Wolters World. Because I'm like, yeah, we'd get more views, but it's such different stuff. People are like, wait a minute, why is he talking marketing? Let's move it on to something else. You know, let's have it someplace else. But these are still ones that we're an expert in, and it fits with what we do, okay? So they're close to us, so that's why, like for Professor Wolters, I can branch out. I can talk about sales. I can talk about career progression, negotiations, because it all kind of works within that core marketing of what we do. So I can still talk about it because I have enough expert in there. So just make sure it kind of fits, you know? Like, if all of a sudden I start talking politics or exercise on Professor Wolters, you're like, that's not what I'm here for. Right, and so that's where people get upset with brands when they go off topic. I signed up for this, and they're like, not that, and then brands don't understand why they're upset. It's because I go to Coca-Cola to learn about Coca-Cola and their tasty drinks. So that's where you'll see people getting upset about it, and so there's different things you got to think about. Now, third set, that outside, that peripheral topics. These are topics that are interested in our audience, but we're not the experts at. Okay, so they relate to our core, but they're far enough away that it's not really on brand for us, but it kind of fits with us. Like, if it was, what examples do I have? So, like, if I looked at, for this, let's give a bike shop, for instance. So the core would be the products in the bike shop, right? And when the bike store is open and biking stuff like that. Then things they can also do, they can also write about exercise, because biking's a big thing. They can write a little bit about nutrition and powering up for a ride. They could write about that. But then the peripherals are other things that are interesting to people that go into the bike store. So we might have stuff up national parks or marathons and stuff like that, because that kind of fits into what we're doing. Not necessarily our topics, but it's stuff that we could share that there'll be interest to them. And so we kind of want to think about these things. And so with these peripheral topics, we want to think about who do you want to curate from? That's why you have a list of here's the Twitter feeds you should follow. Here are the ones you should retweet or not retweet, or what's your definition of what you should do, and kind of think about that, because sometimes you realize it's just easier for me to retweet the Wall Street Journal's closing Dow Jones price than to me to type it myself. Okay, it's like I've made a few videos on the restrictions on travel and how airports are going to change. But like on Twitter, I'm like, look, I'm not going to put down every single state's restrictions. I'm just going to retweet this AARP article on where states stand on reopening. That's what I'm going to do, because it's just a lot easier that way and it fits. And so sometimes it's just the easy side of it. Okay, so if we look at it, so here's our health food store example. So the health food store, so in the center, their core stuff is stuff in the store. Their hours, their associates, their layout, their food, things like that. That fits. That's in their core. But some other stuff that you would kind of expect them to have, like Whole Foods, I expect them to have advice on healthy dieting and healthy recipes, maybe some home gardening stuff because they have some stuff there, sustainable living. Yeah, that all kind of fits with a health food shop. Like, I expect them to do that. But the thing is, there's other thing that works but maybe doesn't go along with it. Like, do I want my yoga and meditation from them? Maybe not. Or trends in health. I'd rather hear this from other things, like, let's share trends in health from, I don't know, Health Food Magazine, whatever. So you're kind of looking at these outside kind of stuff you're going to share. And so that's why you might have these different topics, and then within each one of these, you have like community activities. Here's the community groups we're going to be sharing from. Somebody's beating something outside. So for me, for Wolters World, so what's my core? My core, destinations we visit, that's my core. That's what we always write about. But what are some other things we can write about, that we do write about? Oh, I write about working and studying abroad. We've done a lot of that. Travel advice in general, family travel, living abroad. Like, these are things that, yeah, I feel we're experts enough that we can write about that. But then the peripheral, well, I never write about stuff place I've never visited. Like, you'll see me do a green screen for Professor Wolters. I haven't done it yet, but I bought my green screen came yesterday, so I can film that. But you'll never see it for Wolters World, because that's always on location. Here's our stuff. Whereas when we look at destinations I haven't been to, I'm not going to do things like that. I will share other people's content. Like, people ask a lot about U.S. national parks. I have a few things on that, but my buddies Grant and Bonnie from A Wonderfilled Life, that's all they do is national parks. I'm going to share their stuff to them, right? So I'll do that. Travel warnings, I'm going to retweet the stuff from the State Department, right? Travel deals from cheap tickets, I'll share that. Like, these are things that, look, it's better for me to share that from other people and go from there than to have me do that work for it, right? So you want to think about these things, okay? So that's what I want you to kind of create. Is your kind of this right here is what I want you to create for your business. Now I only have like five peripherals, 4 other things in one core. You can have more than that, okay? To kind of think about what we want. And you don't have to make it like this, so it's a little hard. You can make it like in a PowerPoint, and not PowerPoint, but like in a bullet point. Do that, whatever works for you, okay? So we have that. So I gave you a couple examples, okay? So when we're making our content, we're putting all these things together. We really got to make sure do we have all our ducks in a row? Is everything set up, right? Because I have I have all these great ideas of stuff I can make and I can share and all this kind of stuff. Yay! But do I have it all ready? I'm like, yeah, I could write about all this stuff, but do I have the content made? Am I making the stuff they actually want? Because just because I can write about this stuff doesn't mean I should if no one wants to do it. Because language learning used to be in there, but now I see it's not worth it. So that's why it's important to make sure you're looking at developing content that users really want. Again, going back to the analytics, developing the content that if you're making it for clients, like what they want. Because sometimes when you're making stuff, I have to make it, if I make it for someone else. Like for those of you that are running the social media for businesses or for the football team or whatever, you have things that are meant for the end customer, but then also you have stuff you make that's for your client, the company you're working for, and so you have to make sure we're looking at those things. It's like AT&T, Apple. Apple has to make content that's going to appeal to AT&T and to T-Mobile, but also to you, right? And so let's have content that goes through all these things. So make sure you're looking for that, and realize that the content we already have is something you can use again. Like you can retweet or redo your old tweets and share your stuff again because you know what? No one's going back. Well, okay, unless you're famous, no one really goes back to look at your old tweets or your old Instagram stuff. Like you can go and like retweet those things and reshare those. Like, hey, here's a blog you maybe haven't looked at for a while, or here's something on Facebook, because people don't see it and sometimes they miss it, right? Because there's just so much other content out there. Because you never know. It's sometimes just bad timing. Movies have done bad because it was bad timing. Like Onward was a good movie, did horrible at the box office because why? Well, Corona came and all the movie theaters shut down. So sometimes these happen. So make sure you're really looking at the content you already have that you could like repurpose so you can have more content out there. Okay. So I'm going to start here with this Obono's content journey framework. When we come back it's 11:06. Oh, we have time. I'll do some more. I'm sorry. I thought we were starting at 12. We're starting at 12:30. I'll go through this one and then we'll take a break. We'll do this real quick. Not real quick, but this Obono's content journey network framework really looks at making content based on customers' interest levels. Okay, it's kind of like, how interested are you in what food's available in your pantry when you just ate? You're not, but when you're hungry, you're like, yes, I want to know what's there. We kind of look at it the same way. Because if you're Domino's Pizza, you have posts that come out in the morning, but no one's really thinking about pizza. But at 5 o'clock when I'm getting off work, I'm like, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? I don't want to cook, and I forgot to get meat out this morning to like unthaw. Maybe I do look at Domino's, right? And so we kind of think about that. So we just have to realize that clients' interests will change depending on how close they are to actually purchasing. And because of that, we're going to have different content for each one of those things. And we realize we're making content all the time, so you will have content that's for those people that aren't really super interested right now, and also for those people that want to buy right now. Okay, so there's these 3 different levels. We have called the casual level of interest. So there's just a passing interest. Not going to spend the money right now. It's like right now it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm not really I don't want pizza. It's not in I just had cereal and I had some toast. I'm like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, it's not really, nothing's going to get me to buy. But, they could plant that seed for dinner tonight, right? The next level is what we're calling curious. So this one, the subject of our post is relevant to the audience and it's related to the core need. Okay, so now it's not dinner time, but it's getting near dinner time. Like the example, it's 4 p.m. I'm not super hungry, just a little hungry, but I got to feed my kids. I know I have to think of something. And I'm not like, I got to get it now because, we don't eat till like 7 o'clock anyway, so we got some time, right? So yeah. But then, you have what's called the committed level of interest. The subject of our content is extremely relevant, and the customer has the time and is willing to interact with the brand. So now it's like, look, I got to get this done. So now it's, shoot, I ended up having to stay long at work. I'm going home. It's 9 o'clock at night. The kids haven't eaten. Like, Pizza Hut's like, we've got a hot and ready waiting for you when you drive out. And there's a Pizza Hut that is on my way from my house from my work to my house. I'm like, dude, we're getting a takeaway, whatever the hell they have. Like, what do you got? Like, that's what's going to be there. It's going to get me interested right there. And so we kind of see at these different levels, there's different things you're going to do. So when we look at this casual level of interest, what we're trying to do when they're not really caring about it, you really want to capture their interest, want to grab their attention. So that's where you see humor. You're going to see what's called guerrilla marketing, which we'll talk about that later, where you're getting people to think about products and not really usually thinking about it. You're going to be doing that. That's where you see a lot of entertainment, like a lot of jokes, a lot of funny stuff, just to get people to notice it, okay? So when they do decide to buy, they at least know we're out there, okay? Now, what we're trying to do with our content, with the humor and this kind of stuff, is just trying to get people to be, move them to that curious level, move them up a step so they want to learn more about our services and they maybe want to do more research. We're not giving them really any, hardly any information or background. It's just like, just getting some like, hey, we're there, just letting you know. It's kind of like a swim pool might just show someone laying on the pool, right? They're like, it's so comfy. You're like, oh man, I'd like to do that today. But, like maybe I'll learn more. Like, oh, how do I join up this swimming club? You kind of have that. So you have this casual level. Now the curious, the curious means that, hey, they have some interest. So now we're going to be giving them more information. Okay, we're going to inform them about our products. We're going to give them something a bit more solid and business-like than just the humor and entertainment side of the casual situation. Okay, and so yes, we will use some entertainment, but we got to balance it with more information. Like you're going to see some of those value propositions coming in and how people are really getting out of it. So that for that swim club example, it's not just people jumping in the pool. It's jumping in the pool and showing people eating food from the concession stand, and the lifeguard on duty. Because what does it do? Like, oh, do they have food? Is this a public pool? What's on there? Hey, like we're giving that information out. So we're just sharing a bit more, right? And so we're providing knowledge to them by discussing these value propositions, what we can do a bit more out there. And then we get to the committed level. And that committed level is like, look, we're really educating them now. We're really providing the knowledge that's more than just superficial. So now it's like, look, we are Sheridan Swim Club. We are open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Sunday. We take people in. It costs, our membership dues is $1,000 a year or whatever. Like they really lay it out there. Okay, now you're giving all that information because now people need to commit. Do I join the country club or do I join the swim club? Well, they would say, look, if you're looking to join us, we have a fun family environment with 3 pools and we have a lap swimming, Olympic pool for swimming laps. We got a diving well pool for other things, and we got a pool for little kids and an indoor pool so you can enjoy swimming all year round. So your membership that you pay for a year is something you can use for a year. Whereas at the country club, they have 1 pool outside and you don't play golf. So what the hell you got? So there are these things you want to kind of think about. All right. So that's why you'll see more information, more solid information beginning, giving more specific things so people can make a choice on their buying. Okay. And you will have multiple stuff out there going at the same time. That's why the example I'm talking about now is this university Instagram page. Because think about it. They'll have posts for incoming students, like when applications are due. Do you care? No, you're already in there. But they have application stuff coming out. They'll have rankings. They'll show rankings to inspire people about that. For current students, what do they have? They'll announce when classes or registration is going to be. They're going to announce how classes will be going in the fall. They'll announce like when the homecoming dance is or whatever. They'll have stuff like that. And then for the alumni, what are they going to post? They'll post pictures showing the old buildings, the alma mater, the sports stuff. They'll have those things. For donors, they're going to show, hey, here's some awards we won. Here's some stuff we're doing to help out the community. You'll see more things like that, right? And so you'll see the content being developed at each of these different interest levels. So you got to think about that. Like for me, like I've never really done a lot of the videos for like people that for traveling for the first time, but people ask us for stuff for traveling out for the first time. And so we made some of those videos because I always think, oh, if you're coming to watch our videos, you're already a seasoned traveler, or at least you want to travel. But there's people like, look, how do I buy a plane ticket? How do I get a passport? I'm like, all right, we should make those kind of things for that level of interest. Okay. So you kind of want to think through those things. Okay. So I will stop here for now. Let you guys have some. You all have some lunch, or dinner, or snack, or whatever you do at whatever time it is, wherever you are. We will be back at 12:30. So that's an hour and 15 minutes from now, and we will finish off the rest of these slides. And we're going to start with service in a digital marketing world. So, does anybody have any questions or anything before we sign off for the first part of our lecture today? No? Because I know there's like a delay between what I say and what you get, and it's usually about a minute. So, la da da da, blah 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 blah. No? All right. Well, I will sign off for now. I will see you all back, fully fed and functioning, and we'll get back into this content strategy stuff. Okay? So I'll talk to you later, and I'll see